Hey y'all, today I put together a menu of some of my favorite things to make for a gathering. If you add some watermelons, some hot dogs to the grill, some chips, I feel like this is a great stress-free meal to put together. We're first going to start with this triple cookie banana pudding. And everybody is going to absolutely love it. Now, I love mixing up the cookies in my banana pudding just to do a little something different. You got to put a little something on folks sometimes, just to let them know you creative in the kitchen, okay? Now, you're going to see that I'm going to show you a 3-ounce pudding. However, I am going to actually end up using about 5 ounces of pudding. I'm going to use both types of vanilla wafers as well as shortbread cookies. You could also use some vanilla Oreos. You could use them little cookies from Vacation Bible School. Y'all know what I'm talking about, them butter cookies. Use whatever cookies you want, okay? Now, first I'm going to add in my pudding, and I'm going to use a combination of heavy cream and whole milk. So I'm using 1 cup of heavy cream and 2 cups of whole milk. I like the heavy cream because as I beat this with my beaters, it's going to give it a nice light texture. If you don't want to use the heavy cream, instead you could just use 3 cups of whole milk. If you want a really sweet pudding, you can put in half of a can of sweetened condensed milk. I did not do that today simply because I just felt like by adding the extra vanilla wafers, it was on the sweeter side already, but it's really up to you. Okay, I'm then going to add half of a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm going to beat this until it's getting nice and thick. Okay, like me, baby. Okay, we get thick up in here. All right. Y'all, do y'all peep this cute white serving bowl? Okay, y'all, I found this on Amazon. I'll link it in the description box. Now, this is great for a small crowd of 5, maybe 6. I don't know if y'all greedy, it might be like 4 people. Okay, but I'm going to first start off by layering about half of the pudding, and then I'm going to add on my cookies. Y'all know I throw them Nella wafers, that Food Line brand. I be throwing that at the bottom, okay? That's because kids gonna eat last, so they can get them. But the grown folks, we about to get them shortbread cookies. Do you hear what I'm trying to tell you? Then I'm gonna go in with my bananas, and then I'm going to layer on the rest of the pudding. Now, if you are going to eat this the same day, I think the vanilla wafer sandwich cookies are a really good option. However, when I am making this and I want to eat it like the next day or 2 days later, maybe I'm making it early for an event, then I actually prefer to use the vanilla Oreo cookies or some other type of sandwich cookie because I like how the sort of outer cookie softens really well, and I think that the vanilla wafer sandwich cookies can get a different type of texture if they sit too long, unless you're just using them to decorate the top. So that's just my opinion on the different ways I've tried it. Of course, you guys should experiment with the different types of cookies. Let me know the different ways you guys have made banana pudding. I've even done one with Biscoff cookies, those little airplane cookies, and it was so good. Oh my goodness. So I'm definitely open to experimenting. Guys, I'm going to go in now with the whipped cream. I'm going to lay that all on top. I really love this pure, pretty white base so that I can do all of my decorating. I always make sure to save cookies for that. Now, I actually want to put some of the bananas on top, so I'm going to slice up 1 banana, and then I'm going to add some lemon juice because, baby, ain't nobody going to eat this if it starts getting brown. At least not me. Okay, I definitely would talk about somebody that had some brown bananas. All right, so I'm going to go in with some lemon juice, and that's going to keep it from, turning a weird color. Once that's done, I'm going to mix everything up, and then I'm going to start decorating. My favorite cookies in all of this is the shortbread, so I'm definitely going to go in there and put those all around. I'm going to also stick on some of those vanilla wafers, and I'm going to crumple on the, just the crumbs, just make it all look all yummy, delicious. Okay. I like to let this sit in the refrigerator for 1 hour before serving. But actually, if you like me, you ain't wait that long. You just dug right on in. Okay. Let me know if you're going to try this in the comments. Today I'm going to show you how to make some juicy turkey burgers. Now, sometimes we got to take a break from the beef, okay? Put the red meat on standby, so we're going to go in with the turkey. Now, first I'm going to go in with 2 pounds of this meat in a tube. Now, I ain't going to lie. Sometimes this little tube meat be giving me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. I'll just be wondering why it looked like that, okay? But the tube meat was cheaper than the tray meat, so that's what I went for today. All right. Now I'm going to add in some peppers and some onions to give it a little flavor, as well as half of a cup of breadcrumbs and 1 egg. Then I'm going to season it with about half a tablespoon of garlic and onion powder, a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of garlic and herb seasoning. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of salt and mix this in well. Now, you know turkey has way less flavor than beef, so you definitely have to season this up well, but you can use any seasonings that you like. I always find that turkey can fall apart a little bit when I make burgers, even by adding the breadcrumbs and the eggs. And so sometimes I like to sneak in a little bit of cheese into the inside. I find that this can help be a binder. It also makes it nice and moist. And y'all, cheese just doggone tastes good, okay? So I'm going to take about half of a slice of deli cheese, this is Munster cheese, and just hide it inside of the patties. This is optional because I know some of y'all, that cheese be having y'all locked up on the toilet, okay? So if you dairy free, all right, you don't got to do this, all right? I actually did make a couple without the cheese on the inside, and they came out great. Now, if you've been enjoying this recipe so far, go ahead and subscribe and give your girl the thumbs up. It really helps to push out my content to more people. Now, once I have formed my patties, I'm going to heat up my cast iron skillet. Now, this is the way that I try to do them first. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's a hit or miss for me. So putting them in, I'm usually all good, but the issue comes when I want to flip them. Sometimes they're just a little bit soft. They don't fall apart necessarily, but they're a bit fragile. So you can try them this way. They actually will stay together once they're fully cooked. But if you have a method to sort of make them a bit more firm, let me know. The way that I like to do them that is my favorite though is with the air fryer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put them inside of my air fryer basket, and then I'm going to air fry them at 385 degrees for about 13 minutes. I know it said 15 minutes, but you know, I checked on them and in about 13 minutes, they were good. Halfway through, I went through and flipped my turkey burgers. And if you want to make them a little bit more brown, you could, of course, spray them with some olive oil. The reason I really like this method is because not only is it pretty hands-free, but they always stay together when I use this technique. So if you have an air fryer, I definitely encourage you to try this. And as you can see, if you look closely, that cheese is bubbling and it's really delicious. Now we're going to take these to the next level, and I am going to put some onion slices in my cast iron skillet. I'm going to put a pinch of salt just to give them some flavor, and I'm going to cook them for about a minute until it is browned on the bottom. I really love some caramelized onion, so this is going to be perfect for my burger. Once I flip them, I'm going to go ahead and put on a turkey patty onto each round of caramelized onions. Then I'm going to add a slice of Munster cheese, but cheddar would be perfect. And I'm going to put in a little bit of water, and that is going to create steam that is going to perfectly melt the cheese. Now, I don't have a top for my cast iron skillet, so this baking pan is going to do me just right. Once that cheese is melted, I'm going to take them off and I'm going to form these delicious double-decker turkey burgers with bacon, ketchup, bread and butter, pickles, a tomato. Honey, are you going to try this? Next up is an Italian, or should I say black Italian pasta salad. Because y'all know, y'all see the back of this hand. Y'all know I ain't Italian, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get started by cooking the noodles in some chicken bouillon and some salt according to the package instruction. And then I'm just going to drain them and run over some cold water. Once they have cooled down, I am then going to spray my noodles with a little bit of olive oil. This is going to keep them from sticking together. Then I'm going to put them in a container and I'm going to place them in the fridge. Since this is a pasta salad, I want everything to be cold before I mix everything together. I am using 1 cucumber today, and this is a regular one, not like the little Persian cucumbers that I typically would use. So I am going to partially peel off the skin. I only do some of it because I think the pattern is pretty when it's cut up. And then I am going to remove the cucumber seeds. I feel like when you leave the seeds, it can make the salad a little too watery. So I just take them out and then I chop up my cucumber. This is the dressing that you're going to want to use. Okay, this specific brand I find is so good in a pasta salad, as well as this Italian packet. I'm only using half of the packet though, and I'm throwing in some mayo, as well as about a tablespoon of this dry ranch seasoning. Now you can leave out the mayo. I know some people don't play with it. Instead, you could use some olive oil. I'm going to add a little bit more of the dressing, and then I am going to place in my cool down noodles, as well as some banana peppers. These are going to add a little bit of acidity, as well as some turkey pepperoni, some salami, my cucumbers, some really sweet cherry tomatoes, parsley, but you could also use chopped up basil, and some onion. I don't really like olives, so I don't add that, but you certainly could put in olives, as well as mozzarella balls. I couldn't find any mozzarella balls though, so instead I am going to add some shredded Parmesan cheese, which is going to give it a nice little salty element. Once you mix everything together, you're going to want to taste it to see if it matches what you like, okay? Because you the captain in your kitchen, all right, baby? And I like to let this sit overnight for the best flavor. You will find that when you let it sit overnight, you may have to add a little bit more olive oil or dressing in the morning, but for me, this tasted perfect. Are you guys going to try this Italian pasta salad recipe? Let me know in the comments. Have y'all ever made homemade baked beans? If you have never done it, you are going to love them. Now, one thing I don't tend to like about baked beans from the store is that they are just so full of sugar that I feel as if the flavor of the beans just gets covered up. So what I'm going to do today is start off by sauteing about 5 strips of thick cut bacon. While that's sauteing, I am going to rinse off these navy beans. That is actually the beans that baked beans are. Now, you can make the navy beans from dried in your pressure cooker if you want this, really from scratch, okay? But I think that making the sauce is good enough, all right? Once the bacon is done, I'm going to take it out, but leave all of the fat. And if you don't do bacon, just feel free to skip this step and use butter. I'm then going to saute an onion in this until it has started to brown, and then add half of a bell pepper. You want that brownness on these vegetables because that is going to add some natural sweetness and depth of flavor to your beans. Then I'm putting in one, baby uno, clove of garlic. Some of y'all are just garlic fiends, but baked beans don't need to be overpowered by the garlic. Okay, there are other flavors out there. Then I'm going to add an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, as well as a cup of water. Now, pull out that molasses that you had in your cabinet for about 10 years. Okay, you know you'll use it at Christmas time, but we're going to use it today. Okay, I'm putting in 3 tablespoons of molasses, some seasonings, as well as a bit of vegetable bouillon. That vegetable bouillon is essentially going to turn this into vegetable broth, as well as about 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup. If you do not have maple syrup, you can use honey or just a little bit of brown sugar. I'm also going to add in some mustard. You can use yellow mustard or Dijon, and I'm going to mix this together and just season this with salt and pepper to my taste. I really wanted that smoky flavor to come out, so I added 1 chipotle pepper in adobo. Don't add the whole can, or else your baked beans are going to burn up everybody's mouth, okay? Just 1 is enough. You could use liquid smoke instead, but I'm going to be honest, I don't really play with liquid smoke like that. It just don't agree with my palate, okay? Then I'm going to add in those bacon pieces, and really you got to taste your food. So I felt like it needed a little subtle, warm flavor. So I decided to put in some allspice berries and then a bay leaf. I added in all of my rinsed navy beans and just gently combined it. Let me know in the comments if you have ever made homemade baked beans. Doing it this way is very easy, but I will tell you that the flavor is truly different. It is richer. There's just so much more depth to it, whereas I feel a lot of the ones in the store are just super sweet. Now, while I have made them on this channel, this is my personally preferred way to make it, and my family absolutely love these beans. I'm going to cook these beans at 350 degrees for 1 hour. However, if you are cooking some other protein at 350 degrees or lower, maybe 275 or 300, you can just stick these beans in there with them as well, and they can cook at the same time. Longer you cook them, the richer the sauce is going to taste. This would also be a great recipe for a slow cooker. You could add everything into your slow cooker on low and cook this for about 2 to 2.5 hours, and the sauce would be delicious. These are my beans after an hour. Of course, you can see the sauce is thickened, but the flavor is so intense that I just love it. I also have a pork-free beefy version of these baked beans, and you can check those out in a link in the description box. Let me know if you guys are going to try any of these recipes. You guys know that I love you and Jesus loves you, and I'll see you next time in Kamira's Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.